Welcome back, humans. Today we're going to talk about permission. And the truth is, I've been waiting for permission for a very long time, over 5 years, in fact. So I want to do a little storytelling here to set the stage of how I got to where I was 18 months ago and all the steps that led up to that. And then this big struggle with permission, and maybe you'll see some parallels in your life in different situations where you are waiting for some external force, person, thing, universal energy to give you permission. Okay. So, like I said, about 5 years ago is when the initial lease ran out of my first location, which was the cutest little 1,100 square foot space with a garage door that opened to a little courtyard. And it was so nice. And just two little exam rooms. Back then, we were called a micro practice because it was so small. But as my lease was running out, I had gotten more into my podcast and I was doing some speaking and I was really enjoying that. I was really enjoying making the videos and all of that. However, it wasn't really bringing in any money at all. It was just costing me money. And I was grappling with the decision of continuing the practice or closing the practice and going all in into this other career path.
You are here for a reason, but navigating this human life can be challenging. How do you care for your body, mind, and spirit to make the most of your time here on Earth? How can you harness your incredible human potential? In this podcast, we explore these questions and more to help you craft your best life yet. Welcome to I Am Human.
So naturally, I did what most people do is I started talking. I started talking to my family first. So my mother, who's one of my besties, and my husband, and they pretty much both said the same thing. Quote, the community depends on you. So no, you really shouldn't close the practice. It's helping a lot of people. They need you. And so I took that to heart and I was like, okay, I'll keep going. But as time went on, I wanted to dedicate more time to the podcast, which was more difficult because I started to get more patients. And so then it required more time dedication to the actual patient care, which didn't give me as much time to think about the other things. So at that point is when I started fantasizing about something. And let me know if this has ever happened to you or if this is just something that I made up. But I started fantasizing about cloning myself and having a clone that did the patient care so that I could dedicate myself to the other stuff full time. And have y'all ever heard of the show called Severance? There's 2 seasons out now. We just finished watching it. And I was like, OMG, that's what I wanted. I wanted to create a severed employee that I could put into pediatrics so that I could dedicate myself to the stuff that I loved, that I was really having a good time doing. But I wasn't brave enough at that time. I wasn't brave enough. I felt like I was going to disappoint people. I had one employee at the time that depended on me and was really liking the work. Actually, I had one and a half because I had my remote employee that was helping me do all the stuff, but she wouldn't have lost her job. She would have continued to keep going. So I was like, no, I can't close it. So what if I go in between and I hire somebody? So that's when I took the brave step that was really, really scary, and I hired a physician assistant, and that was, like, a huge leap for me because that was, like, the biggest salary I'd ever paid, and she came, and it was working out great. I had to do a lot of training, but it was fine, and then I realized, "Oh, no, we only have 2 exam rooms. Now there's not enough space. Now I have to expand." So that's when, a little over 3 years ago, we started the process of expanding. And so now I have a bigger place. I went from about 1,000 square feet to about 5,000 square feet, 6 exam rooms, more employees, more responsibility, more financial risk. And I was still training her to learn pediatrics, and it was going well, but because of the move, it took about 18 months to break even so that I could start paying myself. So I didn't take a paycheck for 18 months. And then it was going really great, and I was seeing patients for about 3 days a week and doing my podcast and doing the speaking and the social media, and finally started making a little money from the podcast, and then that's when she left. And here I am with 5,000 square feet, a 10-year lease, all this responsibility. And that's when I came to the second decision point. What do I do now? Because the truth is, I didn't want to go back into peds full time, but I felt like I had to. I felt like I had no other choice. And so that's when I decided to force myself to become content and to just accept this fate. This is what the universe has fated me with. I will be a full time pediatrician, dedicate myself to this, and this is what I'm going to do. And that's when the depression hit like a ton of bricks, the worst of my life, right? So I became desperate because what I really wanted was permission to not do that. I wanted permission to say, I don't want to do pediatrics anymore. I want to do this other thing, but it's too scary. It's too hard. So I need some external force. And that's what we do. When there's something that we want or there's a change that we want to make, but it's scary, it's risky, and we feel like we'll lose approval. Just like I said in that previous episode, the fear that we have, right? The thoughts that we're having that we're no longer going to be loved, worthy, we're going to lose that approval. We start seeking some sort of external permission. And we're talking to our parents and our family, we're talking to our spouses, we're reaching out to our friends, to society, we're looking for some sort of confidence inside of us to tell us, yes, you can do this. This is the right thing. You were meant for this. But the truth is that until you give yourself permission, none of it is going to feel like permission. And this is the example, this is the experience I had, which no matter what I did, it wasn't enough. And y'all, I did a lot to try to get that permission, okay? Obviously, I was talking to everybody, but that was difficult because almost all of my friends bring their kids to see me. So that always felt awkward because it's that, okay, I know it's not going to be good for you if I stop doing peds because you're going to lose your pediatrician. So that never felt like an appropriate, safe conversation to me. So then I started doing a lot of prayer, trying to connect with my spirit guides. I was talking to psychics and mediums. I was pulling cards all the time. And what's hilarious is I kept pulling the adaptation card, which was an octopus. I have a whole story about that. I have a whole story about the octopus, which is really cool story. But anyway, To me, that card meant at the time, you just need to adapt to your situation. This is the right way. So just tough it up, and just deal with it. And I kept pulling that card over and over and over again. And it wasn't until one day on the way to work, I literally started laughing out loud because I realized that day that no matter what, even if it was written in the sky, Yami, you should quit your job, I wasn't going to believe it until I gave myself permission. I was literally laughing out loud because I did more than that, but that's going to come out in other episodes. I'm not ready to tell about it yet. There's a lot more to this story, y'all. And I feel like it's what we talk about. This happens a lot in residency where you have those passive thoughts of like, "Oh, man, maybe I'm just gonna get hit by a car today and I'll be able to stay in the hospital for a few days and get rest." Those kind of passive thoughts. That's kinda what I was thinking too, like, "Wow, what if the building burns down?" And I didn't want anybody to get hurt, but I wanted the decision to be taken away from me. I didn't want to have that risk. But here's the truth. You are the only person that can give yourself permission. Because I think that the number one law of the universe is actually free will. So the truth is that you're the only one. Nobody is going to come save you. Nobody is going to come tell you this is how you need to lead your life. And even if they did, you're probably not going to accept it and you're going to end up resenting it because you have to be the decision maker. But what is stopping us? What's stopping us is fear. We're afraid of the risk. We're afraid of the judgment. We're afraid of the loss of approval. We're afraid to fail. We're afraid to make a decision that we end up looking like a fool because then we fail. We don't want to have uncertainty. And I will admit that uncertainty is my number one disliked feeling and emotion. Oh my goodness. I love certainty. I love making decisions and feeling like, okay, that was the right decision. Here I go. But uncertainty is such an uncomfortable place to be. So we are trying to protect ourselves from that discomfort. We're trying to protect ourselves from that fear. And so we want somebody or something else to take that from us. And then we stay stuck. We stay in that place of false safety because we think it is safer. But as I explained to you before, it was not a safe place for me. The pain, the emotional pain, the spiritual pain that I was experiencing was not a safe place. But for so long, that felt safer than making a decision that seemed to be very high risk. So we're waiting, we're avoiding, and during that time, you're probably starting to get more and more and more uncomfortable, more and more desperate, wanting that permission. And so what's going to end up happening, I feel there's probably lots of different situations, but I know for me, it's depression. For other people, maybe they just go into that zombie mode where they're just like, fine, I'm just going to harden my heart and not want these things, which is what I tried initially, right? I tried to do that and just cut it off from myself, like cut it. I don't even want it to exist. I want it to be gone. I don't want that desire. Take the desire away from me. But that did not work at all. In fact, it got worse, right? So you're the only one. You have to give yourself permission. There's nobody else. There's nothing else. There's no other forces. You have to be brave. You have to have the courage to do it. But it doesn't feel like confidence. Confidence comes from action. Confidence doesn't come from external validation. That's what we want for so many areas of our life. We want that external validation to say you're good, this is for you, etc. But confidence actually comes from taking that step, even if you're shaking, even if your heart is pounding, taking that step towards what you want, towards your desires, away from what no longer serves you, what no longer is aligned with you. That's when you're going to start feeling the difference. And it may not be this dramatic, like, oh my gosh, you're going in the right direction, but you'll start to feel some relief little by little, you'll start to feel that relief. So it's a willingness. It's a softening is what it is. I feel like that's what happened to me. It was, I had this resistance against that part of me that had this deep, strong desire. I wanted to get rid of her. I wanted her to not exist. But instead, it was like, all right, come back. Come back in. Let's talk. How can we start to work together? And softening. Okay, this is what you want. It's not going away. I can't shove it down. So let's start walking towards this together, holding hands and knowing that it's not going to be perfect, but we're going to do it together. So it sounds like I am allowed to change. I am allowed to want something different. I am allowed to evolve. I am allowed to want what I want. It's okay to want what you want. That's the first step, is admitting that it's okay to want what you want. And you don't even have to justify it. I want to do a whole episode about how we try to justify things, but that also doesn't work because it doesn't need to make sense to anybody. You don't have to explain it to anybody, but that's what we try to do. But everybody's journey is so unique. It's not for explaining because other people aren't you. You're the only one that's you. You're the only one that it should make sense for. So if it makes sense to you, the first step is saying, it's okay to want what I want. I am allowed to want this. I am allowed to evolve. And then as you start moving towards that is when you start to feel that certainty and that confidence, and the confidence builds. So that is my message for today. Nobody else can live your life for you. Nobody else can grant you permission to become you, to live this beautiful life, this beautiful incarnation, to experience it the way that you want to experience it. Only you can do that. So I hope that if you're in a situation where you're struggling with that and where you're looking all kinds of places, you'll know because you're pulling tarot cards all the time and talking to psychics and looking for all kinds of signs in every single place. You know the answer. You know it's in there. It's inside you. It's been inside you the whole time. You just have to allow. You have to allow. Soften to that part of you and let it come out. So I hope this was helpful, and that you reflect on that today. Where in your life are you not allowing? Where in your life are you looking for external permission? My name is Yami, and I am human.
Thank you for listening to another episode of I Am Human. I would be so honored if you subscribe to the podcast so that you never miss an episode. We love our listeners and take your feedback seriously. If you have questions or constructive feedback, you can email us at podcast@dryami.com. That's podcast@doctoryami.com. I am your host, Dr. Yami Cazorla-Lancaster. I Am Human is produced by myself and Alejandra Parra. Graphics designed by Alejandra Parra. Music by Angela Soph with Glowbox Productions. Remember, human, you are here for a reason. Have fun, explore, and live your life to the fullest.